Hello, everyone. If I could get your attention, we do have there are some reserved seats up front, but there are more seats on this side of the room. So why don't I give you just a minute to make your way over here. Much more fun to watch these demos when you're seated, I think, given it will be a few hours of fun. So my name is Jessica Donahue. I have worked for State Street for about 15 years, generally in our State Street Associates office out in Cambridge. And it is my distinct pleasure to invite you here or to welcome you here to our Channel Center office, which hopefully has sort of that FinTech vibe. Or is as close to it as you might get in Boston. And we really are excited about today. So I want to thank Sarah Biller, who I work with and who's on the board. She's amazing. I think everyone who knows Sarah knows that she knows everyone else. So once you know her, you can get networked to almost anyone. And she was the one who came to us and said, you know, we've got this great space. The FinTech Sandbox has now been up and running for 6 months, and we need a place to do our very first demo day. And it's really exciting that we were able to pull it off. So you're going to see an amazing set of demos. And I think the big thing that really inspired me or got me excited about what the FinTech Sandbox is trying to do is that data is the lifeblood of FinTech. And data is really hard to get. So the fact that that was solved by the FinTech Sandbox in the way it was, and that it can provide the sort of platform for these companies to really try out their new ideas is excellent. And it's going to be a great day. So I'm going to turn it over to David Jagan, MD at Devonshire, and from what I understand, the lifeblood of the FinTech Sandbox. And he's going to continue with some welcoming remarks. So enjoy your day, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Jessica. And I'll be the first, I think, of many to thank State Street for hosting today, and just looking forward to how much work we can do together over the next few years. So as Jessica mentioned, I'm a partner with Devonshire Investors, which is the venture capital arm of Fidelity Investments, but I'm also co-founder of FinTech Sandbox. And I have the privilege on behalf of the whole team to just set the stage for Demo Day and share a little bit about how we got here and why we think today is such a big and exciting opportunity. It feels like a real milestone for all of us. So I'll take one step back, which was almost kind of scarily 2 years ago. But 2 years ago, a number of us started talking about a common problem that we saw in financial services among startups, and that was that the cost of building a startup had fallen in almost every category except for market data and financial data. And yet for financial services startups trying to launch a payments company or a banking company, if they didn't have access to data or couldn't afford as much data as they needed, it was very difficult to get off the ground or test their product sufficiently. So we thought this was a problem we could help solve, and we started working with a number of leading data partners like Thomson Reuters and S&P, Capital IQ, XIgnite, many of the partners that are here today, and put together a vision of offering free access, fast access, and streamlined access to startups. And so we spent the better part of a year negotiating licensing agreements, testing data, building the systems, and operationalizing the nonprofit that would onboard and support startups. And it was 6 months ago, almost today, I should know the exact date, but like literally I think 6 months this week that we launched. And we launched over at District Hall. I know some of you were there as well, so we enjoyed a really nice wet evening that night. We always seem to pick wet weeks. And but we kicked off, and we're 6 months into it, and feeling really good about what we've accomplished so far. We have a lot of kinks to work out, things that we spent a lot of time talking about, but at the same time feel a little more heft and a little more momentum than we had before. We've had over 100 startups apply for FinTech Sandbox. We have 30 startups that are currently in the sandbox using the data, building products. We've added 11 new data partners since launching, so we have 22 data partners. And I think we can confidently say we have like an awesome, really robust set of capital markets data. So that was our MVP, if you will. That was the first thing we wanted to do, and offer, I think, offer enough data that any startup with a capital markets or trading type application could find something of value in what we have. So that brings us to today, and why we think Demo Day is a big deal, because we actually have 9 startups who came out of that process and had an opportunity to build something that hopefully they wouldn't have been able to build or test otherwise. So I'll leave you with 3 quick things about the Sandbox. One is we're open to new startups. If you know of a capital market startup that is seed stage, probably has raised money, but at the very least has begun to build a product and wrestle with the challenges of data, we'd love for them to apply, and we hope that we can help them. We're serving startups in 4 cities today. That's Boston, New York, San Francisco, and London. That's really about starting and getting concentration and density in cities before we try to open it up further. But go to the website, apply, and we'd love to hear from you. The second is FinTech Sandbox is a community. It is a nonprofit, right, that is assembling investors and entrepreneurs and industry executives around the shared mission of building better FinTech products. So I know there's a lot of people in this audience with data expertise, people who could run seminars, data series that we're working on, could help demo products or make introductions to customers. If you're interested and able to help, please let us know, because we really do need you and want to build that community. And the final thing is something that's a little bit more long-term, but we really hope that this ends up being kind of offering an enduring contribution to the FinTech community by giving back in terms of knowledge. And this idea of a Stack Overflow for the FinTech sector, which many of you may know in the tech sector, of kind of a Q&A forum, snippets of code, the shortcuts for how does a first-time developer work with data. We want to build that hub here. And I think the way we're doing it says as much about what we are as what we are not, because in exchange for all the data that the data partners provide, we don't ask for cash and we don't ask for equity in exchange with the startups, but we do ask them to give back. And that's a really important part in terms of sharing that knowledge. So that's going to take time to build organically. And I think there too, a lot of people in the audience, people who are not even residents, will be contributing to that. And so we're excited by what that will look like over the years to come. So we want to thank everybody. With that, I'd like to introduce you to the executive director who makes everything happen on a day-to-day basis for FinTech Sandbox, Jean Donnelly. Please come up.
All right, hello. Welcome. Is everyone awake? Is everyone ready? Is everyone, yes, we should have had coffee instead of water available, I think, ahead of time to get everyone caffeinated. So thank you all for coming. Here at the Sandbox, we're really psyched that at the 6-month mark, we are here delivering demos with some of the best startups that we have. But all of our startups are the best startups that we have. But in terms of, we have 9 startups that will be presenting to you today what they've been able to achieve with the access that the Sandbox provides. I also want to thank everyone here who represents our sponsors. So we have an amazing group of sponsors who have really already committed to this endeavor, and without them, we would not be here today. So I'd like to actually give a round of applause to thank all of our sponsors who are here today. I want to do a quick poll. Who here in the audience is in a startup? Who works for a startup today? Okay. All right. Who here in their heart of hearts kind of wishes they worked for a startup? Like from, the Silicon Valley show, you get cool T-shirts, but also the camaraderie, using technology and doing interesting things. Well, here today, you guys are all part of a startup. This is a startup community. We're a startup. Everyone who's here who's willing to contribute and to be a part of moving this initiative forward is really part of a startup. So thank you for joining our startup. And we will have T-shirts, so it should work out well. As David said, we have done some great things so far. We also have a lot more we want to do. Like having this type of event every 6 months. So that way then, as we bring on more startups and they hit that point where they're ready to show what they've been able to accomplish with the data, they can do so. We also want to grow and solidify our model and create scalable processes and more connections between data partners and startups. We want to prove that big institutions and startups can work together, and we actually can do some amazing things. We also want to improve our understanding of data as we move forward in the financial data landscape and help startups come up that learning curve quicker. As we look towards our second 6 months, As David said, we really want to focus on building out our community, so everyone here who can contribute, if you haven't joined on our website as a community member, please do. And we also want to connect our startups with customers, not just to buy product, but to help create the transparency around the critical issues that we have and increase our learning to address them head on. So I ask those of you who are here, who have the expertise to lend it to the startups, be a beta tester. Help us build out that list for folks so that way then you can see what the new technologies are that are out there and help the folks involved. And be an engaged community member. I'd like to actually introduce our MC for the evening. So my friend, Danielle Duplin. Danielle is a private coach for public speakers and helps leaders own the moment. She is co-founder of TEDx Boston, producer of Hub Week, which also kicks off like right now, so she's a little busy. And she's among, one of the best coaches that I've run into in terms of helping folks in financial services with her vast history there and in technology to help really see what the emerging trends are and help run events that support that. She has been an amazing coach for our startups who are presenting today. And so I'm very happy to welcome Danielle Duplin to the stage. So.
All right. Hello, everybody. So who was here for the FinTech Sandbox launch at District Hall? Yeah? Okay. So isn't this progress stunning? In just 6 months. So I would like for all of us to warmly congratulate Jean and the entire FinTech Sandbox team at such amazing impact. And many thanks to all of you because, you're here at the ground zero. You're here at the inaugural demo day for FinTech Sandbox, and you heard the great ambition of the team. So when this thing gets big and it gets worldwide, you can say you were here at the start. You don't get a second chance for that, so good for you for being here. So here's to you. So as Jean and David mentioned, we're going to meet 9 startups who come from the 4 geographies that the FinTech Sandbox supports. So they hail from London, San Francisco, New York, and of course right here in Boston. Now, their solutions span the financial services sector. So you're going to see some really interesting and innovative ideas for big data analytics and visualization, risk management made fun and easy, advisory services, and of course, mobile-first B2C personal finance and financial literacy applications. Now, some of the startups are shipping, but most are in beta. Okay, and they're a little, nervous to get in front of this incredibly savvy audience. So they all will appreciate your feedback later on at the showcase. Okay, we've given them strictly 5 minutes to tell their story. So you're going to see what it is, how it works, and why it matters to their customers. All right. What you're not going to hear on the stage are business models and requests for funding, because then the SEC would make us call this Investor Day, not Demo Day. So we want to make sure that you spend some time with the startups at the end of the show. They'd love to chat with you and hear your feedback and really just get your ideas on how to improve their product and scale to market. Okay. So as Jean and David mentioned, the success of the FinTech Sandbox relies with the strength of the community. So what we've done is invited some advocates and stakeholders to introduce each of the startups. So you get to meet 9 new people, thought leaders in the industry, and expand your network. So please, at the break, say hello to each other, and at the end, make sure you meet these startups in person. All right, so let's get started.